So remember, for those of you who do not know Mwalimu here, I've told you my name is Dr. Joshua Aura. I mean, so many of you must be knowing me from YouTube, right? If you go to YouTube and search for Joshua Aura, whatever content, I've done a lot of content covering this CPA. I'm a member of ISPAC. I'm a member of ACCA. I happen to be the principal of RCM Online College, which now is accredited by CASNEP, fully accredited by CASNEP. And then number two, I also run an audit organization, an audit firm by the name of Aura and Company, which is licensed to do audit, taxation, and advisory services. All right, so today we are looking at IAS 41. And I've just said here that IAS 41 applies to all living, what we're calling here biological assets. Biological assets. And biological assets to us are living plants and what in this case here animals. The zoology, botany, if you remember those things. All right. And any agricultural produce, like for example, maize, milk, all right, all that produce that we get from our biological assets, we shall be accounting this under IAS 41. And I've called your attention to something very important here on costs, where we have seen that we've got two types of costs. We have what we call direct costs, and what here number two, indirect costs. Direct costs are those costs that you are able to trace directly to each biological asset. So for example, when I buy fertilizer in my farm, I've just given you an example of a farm that we run at Isinya, which I've taken my students there severally, and I should be able to take you very soon there. You'll be able to learn something, one or two things from there. So if I buy fertilizer, this fertilizer will not be for my sheep. This fertilizer will be for what here for the fertilizer will be for the maize, for example, for crops. So see, fertilizer cost can be traced to the maize. If, for example, ladies and gentlemen, I was able to buy, for example, some salt in this case that sheep likes, in this case here, leaking. You know, that is a cost that you can trace to the sheep. But for example, like I told you, we have a huge problem of water at Isinya. So if I was to get, in this case here, a tanker. So this tanker, for example, in this case here, we get like a 10,000 liter tanker, and it comes and pours this water on some drum. So you see now the water will be consumed by maize, and it will be consumed by who? By the sheep. Through irrigation here to the maize, and then of course sheep will be able to drink. So you see now this water is a common expense. The water cost is a common expenditure which has been incurred to benefit my crops and benefit my sheep. So this is an indirect cost. It's also called what here, an overhead. So, and I've told you, ladies and gentlemen, from the beginning here, that all direct costs will always come here to the individual. Direct cost will always be charged to individual biological assets. Actually, I should have mentioned here, to the individual biological assets revenue account. Revenue account like that. And I've been able to do an example of a revenue account. How does this revenue account look like? Of course, we have opening stocks on both sides. We begin with opening stock here. Closing stock will go to the other side. And then now we have, gentlemen, when you are coming to this level, intermediate level is a serious level. You're supposed to be remembering, for example, what we call this acronym called PALS. PALS. From your ATD or from your financial accounting one, we have the acronym for double entry called PALS. PALS. So if you remember PALS, these are purchases. Purchases, expenses, assets. Whenever they increase, we debit. I repeat for your writing, P stands for purchases, expenses, and assets. Whenever they increase, what we do? We debit. So when you purchase goods, say on cash, you shall open a purchases account and a debit. You shall open a purchases account and a debit here. Debit. So purchases, expenses, and assets should be debited always. And then we have here revenue, liabilities, and share capital. Please write this. Revenue, liabilities, and share capital. What do? We credit. Revenue, liabilities, and the share capital. What do? We credit. liabilities, and the share capital, what we do, we credit. I don't know whether you guys have been able to write. See, we have to write this somewhere in full. That this P stands for purchases, these are expenses, these are assets. So then these three will be debiting. Revenue, liability, share capital, you do what you credit, So come to our revenue account here. So what are we doing? You can see purchases is on the debit side. Expenses, these are on the debit side. Revenue is the same as sales. Revenue is the same as sales. Where is revenue? On the credit side. Credit side. So the moment I have these pairs, I will never have a problem at all. The moment you give me these pairs principle, I remember these, I'll be able to do a lot of financial reporting and analysis questions here really as pertains these standards. So what are we saying, ladies and gentlemen, here? We are saying in this biological revenue account, what do we have here? This biological revenue account, what do we have here? I mean, always I must start with the opening stocks or inventory. So opening stock, closing stock. And then I come here. You can see purchase the expenses. So purchases, I'm debiting. Expenses, I'm debiting. All right. I don't bring any asset here. All right. So I have revenue. What am I doing to revenue? Revenue, we normally call it sales. And you have said, if this side is bigger when you are balancing, if this side is bigger, it means automatically that you have a balancing figure here, which will be profit. Like that. I don't want to move very fast. I would always want to get, in this case here, feedback from you. Up to here, are we together? Have you been able to write like these things, what they mean in full? Purchases, expenses, assets, revenue, liabilities, share capital. Whenever share capital increases, we shall always be doing what here? We shall always be crediting. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you so much. I want us to do this question that I've just sent to you. I want us to do this question that I've just sent to you, and then we see how far we shall be able to go. We'll see how far we shall be able to go with the question. It's quite an interesting question. It's an old question, but very, very applicable. Very applicable. So I've shared the question with you, and I know in this case here, Dr. Moon, I believe you will be able to share that question on agricultural activities and farming with any student who comes. Otherwise, for those of you who have got our revision kits, if you go to these agricultural activities, IS41, you're able to see it there. Yeah. So do we have the question paper first of all of us? I shared it here. Is there someone who has been able to download it? I shared it here. Do we have the question paper? Yes. Yes. We have the question paper. All right. So in this case here, I also happen to be having it here. Yeah. But I don't want to share because when I share like this, you guys will not be able to see my board. You'll not be able to see my board. But I can just share for the sake of reading, and then later on, I'll be able to drop it. Meanwhile, I'm happy because now we are 30-something better. I'm 100% sure that we can do better. So we are told here we want to start with part B. The following balances were extracted from the books of Shamba Limited as at 31st March. So you can see mortgage from Rural Development Bank. Retain the profits. Ordinary share capital. Farm worker wages, you can see these are indirect expenses. I'll tell you why. When you look at, for example, something like, let me just tell you something here. Look at, for example, these expenses. So we know expenses for crops and we know expenses for what here for livestock. So meaning that these expenses that are apportioned for us are the ones that are going to the individual biological assets account. So these ones here, we call them direct. If you look at, for example, something like staff welfare, you see staff, they're serving the whole farm, right? The staff welfare, you can see the staff welfare here. This figure, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a common figure for all the types of products that we have for crops and livestock. So if it's common, then it's indirect. So they've given us great things there. And then they want us to give them a crop and livestock revenue account in a columnar format for the year ended 31st March 2012. And then later on, to be able to take care of these indirect expenses, they want us to do a general income statement. And then number 3, we have statement of financial position. So then we shall do this straight away. Number 1, right there for me, crop and livestock revenue accounts. Revenue accounts. So we have there crop and livestock revenue accounts in columnar format. In columnar format. Very easy, really. Easiest ever. So we have here revenue account, crop, and livestock. So for those of you who have got rulers, nice rulers, ensure that you use them very well. Yeah, and ensure that you use them very well. So we have our revenue account for crop and livestock. Right. So in this case here, we shall have the crop. So we have here crop. And then you allow me to just use live for livestock. This is the debit side. They want us to do this in a columnar form. So also on this side, I'll come and have here crop. And we have live stock. So kindly let me know once you guys are able to draw something like this. Once you finish, please put your thumbs up like this. You're using a ruler. Remember in FR, presentation is key. How you present your work is really, really important. So this is key. Presentation is key. So don't forget, with these revenue accounts, normally those things are very easy. Opening stock, closing stock, purchase expenses, sales. We shall. So once you finish, kindly put your thumbs up like this, or you simply type there, yes. And this is very, very applicable. Remember, our firm at Isinya is a limited company. We use IS 41 every day. So I can see Abdi. Abdi, have you finished? Abdi is raising up his hand. Have you finished, Abdi? Abdi, have you finished? Thank you very much, Abdi. So then we start with opening stock. These books, of course, are selling at RCM College Stand Bank House. If you would want to place your orders, this is our number, 0719 525,000. So orders for this, and then of course orders for our online classes. So then remember our small T account. Just allow me, for the sake of you guys remembering our small T account, we have here opening stock, we have closing stock, we have sales here, we have purchases, and then we have expense. I will never forget this. Since the time I was taught this. So I shall start with the opening stock. I will start with opening stock. So is there somebody who is able to see opening stock? Anybody who is able to see down there in that table? You can see inventories from the trial balance. So you're getting this from the trial balance, TB. From the TB, the trial balance. So from the trial balance, the big table written there, I hope you guys are able to see. You see stocks and inventories are the same. These are the same. So inventories, you can see growing crops, seeds, and fertilizers, 12,000. Of course, that will go to the crops here, 12,000. Fertilizers can't come to the livestock, 12,000. So, ladies and gentlemen, apart from that, what else do we have? You can see inventories for livestock. Inventories for livestock, if you're key, it is 15,000. Inventories, opening inventory. Opening, because you can see it is on 1st April 2011. And yet we are doing this at the end of 31st March 2012. You see that 1st March 2012 is closing. Then 1st of April 2011 will be opening. So apart from that, we still have something on inventories opening there, livestock feeds. It's very, very clear that this is going to the livestock account. Livestock feeds, we can see a figure of what day we are following. Livestock feeds, 3,600. You don't have to write another opening stock here. No, that's enough. That's enough. Then you come here and write for us closing stocks. So remember, closing stocks, in most cases, these are normally provided in the additional notes. In the additional notes, it's rare. You can't get a closing stock in a TB. No. So if you look at note number 1, if you look at note 1, if you look at note 1, what have they told us in note 1? Inventories as at 31st March 2012, that is at the end of the year, were valued as follows for crops. And then we have here for livestock. Livestock, I can see 24,000. 24,000. And then I can see for livestock still, we have livestock feeds of 600. Livestock feeds of 600. Can you kindly confirm that all of us have been able to put in the stocks? Let's confirm by just saying Y or yes, that all of us have been able to put in the stocks. Margaret Wanjiro, great. I'm waiting for DR Muna. Great. Thank you so much. Then what do you think will be the next thing that I will be able to book here? What do you think will be the next thing that I should be able to book? What do you think will be the next thing that I should be able to book? Remember, always to sit on that seat of the accountant and reason like an accountant. If you look at my small thing here, yeah, okay. Margaret tells me sales or patch, it doesn't matter. So let's begin with sales. Sales. And of course, sales will come here. So we have their sales. So sales, is there somebody who is able to see the sales? Sales will be on the TB, on the trial balance, on the trial balance. These things, of course, the only thing you'll not get on the trial balance is the closing stock. Yeah. So sales on the trial balance, down, you can see sale of crop. Sale of crop, 21,000. Sale of crop, 21,000. Sale of livestock sale, that is a cattle. You see, cattle is another term for what? A livestock. Cattle, 36,000. Cattle, 36,000. And then we have here sales of carcasses. You can see there carcasses. Carcasses, remember a carcass, it's dead meat. Dead meat cannot come from crops, isn't it? Dead meat, in this case here, dead meat. Livestock meat. When it's dead, of course, when this cow is dead, it's a carcass. So carcass, how much is the sale? It's 9,000. When we are marking these things at customer times, we sympathize with students. You'll get someone, in this case here, booking sale of a carcass in crops. In crops. Up to there, I'm always there teaching students who keep on giving me feedback. Sorry for asking you many times, but I would want to know whether we are together up to here. I would want to know whether we are together up to here. Please don't shy away from asking questions or even from telling me we are not together. Kibis Joanne, and Kibis Joanne, I think I know this lady. Yeah, it is the same lady. Great. Great. Now from there, we can go ahead and book what we call purchase. Go ahead and book purchases. Purchases from the trial balance. From the trial balance. Are you able to see the purchases there from the trial balance? So purchases, oh yes, I can see purchases of seeds. I can see livestock, fertilizer, and livestock what year? Feeds. So purchases of seeds, where do I book purchases of seeds. You know, also you need some kind of knowledge. When they talk of artificial insemination, and then you take a cost of artificial insemination to crops, then you are also, having like a problem. Yeah, great. Thank you so much. Seeds, seeds. So seeds in this case here, this will be under crop. So in this case here, seeds, 2,400 under crop. And then you can see in this case here, purchase of livestock, 6,000. Thank you very much. And then you can see in this case here, fertilizer, purchase of fertilizers, 1,500. So where do we take fertilizers? Crop or livestock? Yeah, we normally put fertilizer on crops to stimulate their growth, to enhance their growth. Thank you very much. So fertilizer. In this case here, we can see fertilizer 1,500. You don't have to write any other thing. You just leave it like that. So 1,500. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we have in this case here livestock feeds. Livestock feeds 420. You are making very good progress. 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 Now, from there, ladies and gentlemen, I'll now start scouting expenses. The last thing, I'll start scouting now for expenses. Expenses as per my this account expenses. So expenses, remember, it's only direct expenses. So direct expenses, I'll be able to look under farm and under purchase of seeds, purchases there. I can see wages. There's a direct expense there. There are wages, direct expense there. And wages, I don't have wages for crops, but I have wages for livestock. I have wages for livestock, which gives me 9,600. I have wages for livestock, which gives me 9,600. Which gives me 9,600. Wages for livestock, which gives me 9,600. Up to there, are we together, ladies and gentlemen? Are these guys following really? Are these guys following? Yeah, these are direct expense. And then, of course, we have what they are calling expenses. Of course, they should have given this another name, but they've called these expenses, and they are really direct because I can see their traceability. Like expenses for crops, 6,000. Expenses for crops, 6,000. And then I have in this case expenses for livestock, 7380. 7380. For livestock, 7380. I feel I've moved quite fast, but in one way or the other. Sauda is asking whether I'm the one taking FR this semester. What we have done, we have introduced more sessions for our students. You know, like, for example, we've been having FR classes running from 8:00 p.m. to 10 p.m. to 10 p.m. So most of our students are saying, fine, these classes are good with very good teachers, but now mwalimu for FR and FM, we want some other new sessions which run from 6:00 p.m. to 8 p.m. And now this is the void that I will be filling. So we have introduced a 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. session, Sauda, that will be taught now by myself. Yeah. But of course, the other session, the 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. session remains with their teachers, So I hope Sauda have answered your question. I hope Sauda, we have answered your question. That these are additional. Nobody's chasing any teacher. This is just additional. Oh, you'll be glad to join. Yeah, the 6 to 8 p.m. classes will be in the LMS. Yes, thank you, Richmond. And you have a very good name, Richmond. Great. They'll also be available in the LMS. And remember, LMS is the game changer at RCM. LMS is what distinguishes us with our competitors, from our competitors 100%. All right? Because in the LMS, learning management system, we normally put all the videos there. So students in this case will be able to watch those videos over and over again. And when you are watching videos in the LMS, you should not be watching them at the speed of 1. No, we shall be watching them at the speed of 1.5. Is there somebody who knows how to watch videos at a higher speed like 1.5? Is there somebody who watches their videos at, say, 1.5? Anybody who watches their videos at 1.5? Kibisa Joanne, great. Yeah, because you see the examiner now is changing his style. He's making the questions a little bit difficult, you know. So then we need to also change how we study, you know. We need to cover more content. We as teachers need to simplify your content a lot, but you guys also need, yeah, Francis is saying that you will be watching at 0.75. Yeah, you also do at 0.75, but you see now, Francis, that is when you don't follow something totally, then you lower the speed. But otherwise, you should be doing it at a higher speed. But most important is that all those speeds are there for you. So you get to choose. But not any of my students should choose 2. A speed of 2 is so high. So expenses. So this is very good. Now, ladies and gentlemen, after that, Allah, it must be the internet. I'm really sorry, the moon. It must be the internet. It must be the internet now. Thank you for reminding me. It must be the internet. Has it stabilized? Do you think it's now much better? Has it stabilized somehow? It must be the internet, really. The Moon, are you able to hear me? Because from my side, somehow, okay. Let's try to simply do what? Yes, strain a little bit. Let's try to strain a little bit, and then we get to finish this question. So do we have any other expenses which are direct? Do we have any other expenses which are direct? Yes, we have the manager's salary. Manager's salary. Is there somebody who is able to see manager's salary? Is there somebody who is able to see manager's salary? Manager's salary. So manager's salary, the way it is, manager's salary, the way it is, you may think, hey, Mwalimu, but that is a common post. Because they are in the TB, they have not divided it. In the TB, it is simply given there as manager's salary, and I can see a figure of 3,600. And as Kibisu Joan is telling us that Mwalimu, look at note 2. Manager's salary is charged to livestock, and the crop revenue accounts in the ratio of 1:3. So in this case, here they have given us the criteria to do what here to apportion this. So this one here, look at note 2. So this manager's salary of 3,600 is to be divided at what ratio? At the ratio of 1:3. 1:3. Remember, 1 is for what here? 1 is for livestock. 1 is for livestock. And then 3 portions, these are for crop. So in total, this will be 4. So proportion-wise, this will be a quarter. This will be 3/4, like that. So meaning, ladies and gentlemen, that the manager's salary going to livestock will be a quarter of 3,600. Are you able to give me this answer? Livestock will be a quarter of 3,600. Are you able to give me this answer? Because it's a quarter times this 3,600. $900. So I'm being given 900. And then crop, you can see crops here. It is 3/4. 3/4 of 3,600. 3/4 of 3,600. 3/4 of 3,600. Are you able to give me this figure? 2,700, Francis. Thank you very much. So now automatically when the examiner gives you a criteria for apportionment, then that cost becomes direct and it has to go to our revenue account. It has to go to our revenue account. So you come here, manager's salary for the crop. Don't confuse. Crop is 2,700. Don't confuse. Crop is 2,700. Livestock is 900. Livestock is 900. Livestock is 900. Livestock is 900. Ladies and gentlemen, after that, do we have any other expenditure that you guys think, I mean, this expense should be able to go to? Now, it will be very easy for us to simply read the notes. If you continue reading these notes, you'll be able to see, for example, places where we can read, for example, note number 3. Valuation of farm tools. That, of course, will give us depreciation, ladies and gentlemen. That can't help us. 4, in insurance prepaid amounted to 240,000 and is to be charged the general income statement. That is general income statement, not revenue accounts. Then we are told note number 5, manure. manure. Manure worth 180,000 was used in the farm, while farm crops used to feed the livestock were valued at 390,000. Let's work with manure. Let's work with manure first. So manure. So I know that manure, who produces manure? Manure, who produces manure? It is livestock. Livestock. Manure is from livestock. And this manure is worth 180. This manure is worth 180. Remember, our figures, ladies and gentlemen, are in thousands. So manure is worth 180. What happened with this manure? That we got this manure from livestock and we took this to crops. All right. We are told here manure worth 180 was used in the farm. So in short, livestock made a sale. So this 180 is very interesting. It means that livestock made a sale and the crop, in this case here, purchased. Right. So because manure is from livestock. So remember what we get out of livestock, that will be a sale, considered to be a sale on the context of livestock. So you'll come here and write, in this case here, manure. Manure. So manure, of course, in this case here, which one sold? Manure, the department which sold is livestock. How much? 180. And then you come here and mention manure. Manure. So on manure here, what happened? In this case here, crop, the farm, the crops here were able to buy. So we got this manure from our sheep, and then we transferred this manure to the crops, like maize. All right. I don't know whether you guys are able to see this, but we've gotten this manure from our sheep or from our cattle. All right. And then the same is transferred to who? To our farm crops to be used as fertilizer. So it means that the livestock is an output. So if for livestock it's an output, then that automatically will be booked under what year? Under what we call, that will automatically be booked under what we call, that automatically will be booked under what we call a sale for the livestock. So for the livestock, it will be a sale. And for the crop, crop is consuming. To the crop, it's an input. So under the crop, you shall be able to put here 100 what here? 80. 180. Looks a little bit confusing, but are you guys able to get that concept really? Yeah, it's output from the cattle sale, and then it's an input to the crops. Is there somebody who is able to see that concept? Is there somebody who is able to see that concept really? Y for yes, or even N for no. So you keep on repeating severally. At least Johnson has been able to see that. It's only one student who has been able to see that. How about the other students? Great. At least now I have a second one. Nungari has been able to see. You see that, ladies and gentlemen, is coming from who? From the livestock. And the crops, in this case here, we are consuming, it's an input to us. On the same concept, the same note. So remember, this is note number 5. For your revision, you must write notes here. So this is note number 5. On the same note, we are told there that crops used to feed the livestock were valued at 390,000. 390,000. 390,000. Can you kindly tell me then what is going to happen there? That also we got, in this case here, our maize from the farm, and we were able to give this maize to our sheep. I can see an output from a particular biological asset to becoming an input in another biological asset. I'm able to see things there. Let me see whether there is anybody who will be able to pull through. The R moon is telling me that Mwalimu, for crop, this will be sales. Thank you so much. So remember, you can use any name. You can use any name. So in this case here, crop fed to animals. So under DR moon is telling me that this crop is an output from the crops here. All right. So, and because the figures are in thousands, then you're going to capture this as what here? As 390. Then what do we do in this case? Of course, it has to appear in both. So we have here crops fed to animals. Fed to animals. So to animals, this is an input. To animals, this is an input. It's like the animals purchased. Yeah, livestock, it's an input. The animals expense, yes. So crops fed to animals. So in this case here, under the animals, we'll come and put this 390. And then of course with a dash there. Thank you so much. You guys are really very good. You are really very, very good. Very, very good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Note number 6. That's about bad debts. It's indirect cost. Note number 7, we have things happening there. Crops consumed by the farm workers were valued at 600,000. This amount was recovered from their wages. Our workers were so good to us. Our workers in this case here helped us to do business. Our workers helped us, ladies and gentlemen, to do business. Is there somebody who is able to see the crops consumed by farmers? What are we going to do here? Crops consumed by workers. Great, I love this. So crops consumed by workers, of course I can see an output. That's not disputable. I can see crops, I can see an output from crops. So how much is this? Ladies and gentlemen, this is 600. From the crops. Of course, here the animals are not involved at all. Then you come here, of course, these workers, they consumed, in this case here, our crops. And instead of us giving them wages, we told them, no, let's just have the crops you guys consumed. That to be your wages. So basically, that's an expense on this side. That's an expense on this side. It's an expense for this side. All right. So we have here crops to workers here. By workers. Crops by who? By workers. So this will be wages, basically. It's an expense. And remember, I can't take this to the livestock. This is purely crops and the wafanyikazi. Usiniambia wafanyikazi are animals. Even if they're animals, they're not livestock. So for them, of course, this will be called what here? This will be called wages. So then, ladies and gentlemen, what do we have here? We have a figure of 600 like that. A figure of 600 like that. So, ladies and gentlemen, can you kindly confirm that this thing, of course, the moment I do the second example, you'll even tell me, Mwalimu, now move with speed, because everything will be very, very easy. But you see, this is just my first lesson. My first lesson, I have to be very patient with everybody. I must be very patient with everybody. But these guys consumed, in this case here, what we call crops. They took our maize. So maize left our stores. So it's an output. It must be booked as a what here? As a sale, first of all here. This is like a sale. Remember, sales we are crediting here. This is like a sale. We sold to them. And then on the other side, remember, they never took this for free. They never took this for free. Ladies and gentlemen, they took this and we charged this to their wages account. So on this side, I'm going to add what here? I'm going to have wages here debited. Even if they took this for free, I will still debit this account with that 600. Why? Because I would consider it a donation. And remember, all donations, according to our accounting standards, donations are normally accounted for as what is expenses. So even if you are told that these workers, of course, these workers, where they are working, they must eat things. That's very normal. So whenever they eat, even if you're told that we gave those goods, crops to them for free, or even if you're told in this case that it was theft, you'll still have to do what you have to expect to expense. Actually, this is what we call contra. If you remember, contra entries. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, after you tell me that, then I'll be able to go straight away to note number 8. Note number 8. The shareholders provided farm labor valued at 1,200. So shareholders were able to get to the farm and they were able to do work there. They did work, measured at what year? At 1,200. So basically, this will be an expense to the company. This will be an expense to the company. It's only unfortunate that they haven't told us out of the 1,200 how much is for the livestock and how much is for the crop. So these are a general expenditure. And the general expenses will always go to number 2 of the requirement, where they want us to give them a general income what year, a general income statement. So this one here will not touch us there. But if you continue reading that statement, while crops valued at 19,000-20,000 were donated to charity during the year. Crops have moved out of our stores. So in this case here, we have here charity crops. How much? 1920. Crops, for crops alone, 1920. Our figures are in thousands, remember. So remember, this is a donation which has to be expensed here. So charity crops, we have in this case here, 1,200. Is it livestock that we donated? So remember, if I were you, I would write in brackets here, donation, and I can even write the note number. I can even write the note number. Income tax expenditure, that is always what year? That is always a general expenditure. That's always a general expenditure. So please come and balance your figures here. It needs a lot of patience here, really. Needs a lot of patience here. This needs a lot of patience here. So come and we can start with crops. Tell me which side for crops. We start with crops. Somebody who is able to punch this. I wish I came with my calculator. Somebody who is able to punch this. Tell me between these two, which one is the heavier side? Which side is heavier? I believe it is this side which is heavier. 1920 or 1,200, sorry. 1920, you're right. Thank you so how critic. Where did I get 1,200 from? I'm also another one, but we shall overcome. Human leads to error. Thank you so much, Nugari. That was very good of you. Thank you so much. So of course, ladies and gentlemen, as you do this balancing, you'll give me an opportunity to market our school. We have very good online classes at RCM College. Very good online. You can also even see this on your own. So these online classes, we are charging 4,800, which is a very, very reasonable figure in the market. I mean, it's very reasonable. That's why we don't allow any discounts, 4,800, right? So once you pay this 4,800, we give you access to our LMS. Learning management systems, where you'll be able to get videos. And then number 2, we give you access to Zoom classes like this, where you can see so many students are able to give us feedback. Students are able to ask questions. They've been able to correct. You know, the essence of Zoom classes is you to get an opportunity to interact with your teachers. So crop, I'm being told the crop is 28,300 debit. Okay. So 29,910 first. So this is bigger. 29,910. So 29. And I can see what this gentleman has told me. It means that this side is smaller. For crop, this side is smaller. And therefore, we have a profit. A profit of 29,910 minus what this gentleman gave me as 28,300. Johnson Chalo. So how much is profit here for crop? How much is profit here for crop? 29,910 minus all this. Which Chalo has been able to get as 28? Which Chalo has been able to get as 28 something? So I'm being given a figure of 1920. I'm being given a figure of what year? 1610. Figure of 1610. Thank you so much. Then go to the livestock as I make my announcement. So you're charging this 4,800, and would want to welcome all of you to simply call us. Please call us 93 555 000 0793 555 000. That's our number. 0793 555 000 or 0719 525,000. You'll be able to get very good classes at RCM. You can't go wrong. Right now, we are fully accredited by CASNEB. You can check us on their website. Fully accredited by CASNEB, and our students now can get HELB loans. You can get HELB loans. You can get HELB loans. All right. So somebody has already told me, Margaret, livestock is 69,780. 69,780. Livestock is 69,780. This is 69,780. So do we have in this case here a profit or a loss? So if the balancing figure is here, then this will be a profit. If the balancing figure is on the other side, then that will be a what here? A loss. That will be a loss. That will be a loss. That will be a loss. So let me see whether students will be able to give me this figure nicely. And thank you so much for joining in great numbers. So that is very good. That is very good. So can somebody give me this? If it's profit, take this minus that. You see, FR is the easiest paper in CPA. You should be able to do away with the FR. I mean, just participate here, understand the FR very well for you to create time for financial management. Financial management is the killer paper in the entire CPA. It has really, really harassed students for the last 2-3 semesters. Financial management has really harassed students, and that is why we have introduced special only financial management classes. We have introduced special only financial management classes. So Nungari tells me that livestock profit is 26 something, 26,490, 26,490. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, when I come now to my next class, which I'll be able to give you the timetable on WhatsApp, you'll be able to see that when I go to the general income statement, these two figures here will be my total revenue from my farms. And then I deduct all the other common expenses. What in management accounting you call overheads. But given that today was our debut class, I would want to end there. It is my sincere hope that you guys have been able to enjoy our introduction to FR, our introduction to IAS 41, accounting for agricultural activities. Thank you and bye. Spread the word there that now we have classes starting from 6 p.m. 6 p.m. Thank you so much. See you another time. And then, of course, we shall be able to upload this on YouTube. YouTube Joshua Aura. And sure, when you get this, you're able to share the same with your friends. That's how you market Mwalimu. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Welcome. From Juba. Great. Nowadays, you're getting so many people from Juba. Very soon, I'll be coming to Juba, Erua, Geoffrey. I hope I'll be able to get some good welcome. I hope you know how to welcome teachers. Thank you so much. Bye. Great. Oh, also, DR Moon is from Juba. Great. Thank you so much.